Hello there, I'm George Hall, and welcome back to the Good Growth Podcast. It's a new year, but it seems to be the same old Google, as another product is set to enter the fabled Google graveyard. Google have announced just last week that Google Optimize and Optimize 360 will no longer be available after September 30th, 2023. Google have said, and I quote, "We launched Google Optimize over 5 years ago to enable businesses of all sizes to easily test and improve your user experiences. We remain committed to enabling businesses of all sizes to improve your user experiences and are investing in A/B testing in Google Analytics 4. I'm joined today by Zoe Hitchens, Analytical Consultant at Good Growth, and David Watkins, Senior Analytical Consultant and also podcast super guest here at Good Growth. Lovely to have you both on the show. How are you?
Oh, very good, thank you.
Very good, thank you, George. Thank you for having us.
Perfect. Well, David, keen to come to you first. We've discussed the Google graveyard before and the products that have gone into it. Why has this happened? Why are Google putting a sunset date onto Google Optimize?
So I think the move from Google Optimize here is a long-running story as Google continues to shift towards the next generation of analytics in GA4. It's a platform that for about the last 5 years has now allowed organizations, both small and large, to run optimization of their customer journey. And with the move to GA4 has for the last couple of months for integrations with GA4 been in a beta release. This move really now is quite impactful for a large amount of organizations, particularly with the fact that a lot of companies are using Google Optimize to run their A/B testing. And as Google have commented themselves, they're continuing to support businesses with A/B testing, but this is going to take a new view in the form of Google Analytics 4.
Well, I know GA4 is a topic that you in particular love, David. We've spoken about it at length before on the podcast, and I'm sure we haven't heard the end of it just yet. Zoe, I'm keen to come over to you as someone who does a lot of testing in your role of A/B testing, split testing, and site optimization. We heard then from David that Google Optimize was and still is incredibly popular with big organizations and small organizations. Why is that? Why has it been such a popular tool?
Yeah, well, I think one of the first reasons is the pricing or lack of pricing. They have the free version of Google Optimize, so that's really appealing for kind of any maybe small to medium business that aren't going to be investing a lot of kind of time and money into whether it's kind of conversion rate optimization or a lot of things down that route. So yeah, being able to offer a free package that actually does test to a good level is really valuable to businesses. And then again, being able to offer that kind of additional package of 360 if users if businesses, are wanting to test at a slightly higher frequency, they have those additional spaces within their optimized container that they can use. I think probably arguably the biggest positive with Google Optimize though is the native integration with Google Analytics. We know that a lot of people use the Google Suite or the Google Marketing Suite across their businesses, whether that be Google Analytics, Tag Manager, ads, and the fact that it can all be wrapped up within Google Optimize and reported is really, really beneficial. It saves a lot of manpower in terms of, for example, setting up objectives. So if businesses have goals set up in Google Analytics, these can be pulled straight through into their Google Optimize. So you're not duplicating and wasting any kind of time and resource. So yeah, I think that native integration is going to be missed.
Perfect. So then in terms of next steps, obviously businesses are already aware they've got this mammoth challenge of GA4 on the horizon. Say I'm a marketer, a CMO, an analyst, someone who's involved with Google Optimize or impacts my job in some way or another. What do I need to be doing? What are my next steps in terms of beating the sunset and getting ahead of the game?
So, I mean, it's one of these things that similarly to the GA4 migration this is something that you need to start thinking about now. So to continue your A/B testing and innovation activity on your platform and your site, it's time to start thinking about where is this testing going to move to. Now, this obviously provides both an opportunity and a challenge. The opportunity means that it allows us to reassess where we are with our testing activity, or an organization is with the testing activity. It provides a challenge because Google Optimize, as Zoe has mentioned, is free for the majority of the smaller users. It provides this barrier in the sense that really the best solutions out there, i.e. Optimizely, Monetate, etc., are premium solutions and tend to carry a price tag with them. Now, Optimizely is regarded as the industry leader for split testing. Google Optimize was the challenger to that, and has rapidly grown over the last couple of years. Just in some of the work that we do, we see it more and more across clients of all sizes. It also comes at a time where Google have also basically told everybody they need to migrate their analytics platform. So that, in combination with the GA4 migration and then this optimized migration, means that it's a two-pronged challenge.
And then in terms of that GA4 challenge, obviously the date for migration is fast approaching. UA is being sunset at the start of July. Do you think, I mean, this might be taking a cynical viewpoint, but is there the potential that Google have looked at migration numbers and thought it's not quite where it should be? People aren't moving at the rate that we expected, and maybe users need a bit of the carrot and a bit of the stick. So a tool is being sunset and moved into GA4, almost to gently, but not so gently, encourage users to migrate sooner rather than later. Is that a possibility?
I think it's a combination of things. I think Google themselves are focusing quite heavily now on GA4. That is evident. The migration for GA4 and the sunset date for GA4 is fast approaching. This also now, and the way that Google have phrased it in their release for the announcement for this sunset of Google Optimize, also shows that they seem to be thinking that Google Optimize is going to start moving, Google Optimize, or the testing activity is going to move to within GA4 itself. Now, that does obviously provide quite a big challenge for organizations, as they now have to manage the migration of not only their analytics platform, but also their testing solution. Now, there's a balance there that needs to be struck between whether or not the company has the capacity to manage two quite large scale migrations, including all of the activity and also the documentation that goes around that, and also whether or not they have the capability to manage that migration. They are two very large pieces of tech that now have to be migrated to the next generation, and in terms of testing, potentially even a new provider altogether, as there is currently no announcement on when or if there will be testing available within GA4.
Okay, so still some blurred areas, some blurred lines as to when things will happen, how they'll happen. Obviously, we've seen before, and David, you and I have spoken about the backtrack on aspects of Google Analytics and GA4, which seemed like Google was listening to its users. Do you think there's a possibility that there's going to be some upheaval and some feedback from users regarding Optimize that forces Google to maybe change things somewhat?
Google do seem to be very focused on GA4. That seems to be where they're focusing the majority of their efforts. I think we will probably see some kind of testing engagement within GA4 at some date. It's with Google to announce when that will be.
Okay, well, say I'm a CMO. I've heard this announcement. I'm maybe not 100% sure how it's going to impact my team and the work we do. I've obviously got GA4 at the back or front of my mind, depending on where my organization is with regards to migration. What would be my next steps? And moreover, David, how would you approach this challenge, this dual challenge, and how would an organization like Good Growth step in to tackle it?
Well, we have the expertise to manage both migrations, so we are well abreast with the tech that is Universal Analytics and GA4, and have migrated several businesses to GA4 already, and are in conversations with a few more for that migration. So that is a four-prong approach, which is number one for the GA4 migration is understanding your customer journey. Second is then providing a GA4 digital measurement framework. So how are we going to set up tracking in GA4? The third then being actually doing that setup, providing that integration, and then finally is putting together the framework to make GA4 really usable and powerful within the business. Similarly to that it's a similar approach for your A/B testing solution. We've got to find a solution that obviously means that we will allow companies to test in the way that they are and still report robust data. One such solution is the Good Growth Innovation Platform, which can provide two areas for this. So number one, it could be sort of fill the gap between the two between a testing platform and another testing platform. Additionally, it could be a longer term innovation platform for growth, allowing businesses to continue to run these testing activities, and also Good Growth can support with that. So we have supported testing activity across a broad range of clients and have delivered commercial results from those testing activity and the testing process. So really with testing, the main thing in terms of the migration is making sure that the activity continues to be documented successfully, and also providing that platform that allows for those testing activities to continue, whether that be in the platforms such as Optimizely or Meditate, or whether or not we use, say, the Good Growth Innovation Platform.
And then a question to sort of wrap things up. I mean, look, we've got 5 months until UA sunsets, right? We've got 8 months until Google Optimize sunsets, give or take a week or so. How do you both feel about this? I mean, is there an air of excitement that says, okay, it's a large challenge, it's a lot of moving parts, but actually this is new ground, businesses can have access to all sorts of new data and therefore insight? Or is there sort of a moreover a larger part of frustration where you're thinking, actually, we need answers from Google now, we're not getting them, and it's limiting what we can do? How do you both feel about this?
So I definitely say that at the moment Google is providing moving goalposts. Let's say analytics is changing, and there are new features being added into GA4. They're providing more support for GA4. They're focusing on GA4. So the Google Optimize was a very effective testing platform, continues to be and will continue to be until September. The frustration probably for Google at the moment is the fact that they have not actually announced what is going to happen beyond the 30th of September. So there is currently no widely known plan as to what is actually happening. How if I wanted to stay on the Google testing platform, do I continue to test past September? And I think that's the challenge for organizations at the moment.
Sure. And then Zoe, do you echo that or anything different?
Yeah, and I think kind of, where the frustration lies is it's very hard for businesses to get a head start on this migration when the platform is kind of constantly changing. It does feel very much like it's still in its kind of beta phase. So that's the element of frustration for businesses there. Additionally, with this kind of Google Optimize announcement, the added frustration is that everything seems to be changing all at once, and some people don't like change. I think the positive spin on that is I think it is now going to encourage businesses to kind of reflect on their own, I suppose, like needs in terms of analytical capacity needs, what solution is going to be best fit for them from a testing perspective as well. This might allow them to kind of dig a little bit deeper into the size of the testing kind of tool, whether they want to go for one of the slightly more premium packages with an Optimizely, whether they're only going to need a small kind of interim solution. So depending on the dependencies, the size of the business, the scale of the CRO activity and innovation work that they're going to be doing, if that's something that's kind of part of their roadmap and they want to do, it might require them to think a little bit more about which route they're going to go down in terms of a tool to use. And we're very much happy to provide some support and consultancy in terms of which tool might be a best fit for them.
Perfect. I mean, David, I'm guessing you're pretty used to Google wiping things out. I imagine your Stadia console is now in the bin. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's another one of Google's products that they've decided to get rid of.
Perfect. Well, as always, we may have left you with answers, we may have left you with questions, or a real mixture of the two. Either way, it would be great to hear from you. We're Good Growth, the e-commerce consultants who turn digital failure into commercial success. You can email us at inquiries@goodgrowth.co.uk or have a look at our website. It's a shiny new website, so do take a look. And it's goodgrowth.co.uk. You've been listening to the Good Growth podcast. Thank you very much for listening. And Zoe, David, thank you very, very much for your time today. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.